I'm Don Kuehlhorn, and this is the first of many editions of a TV magazine or video magazine that I'm going to call the StageDoor. It's a program about the Old Town Playhouse, where I hope to introduce you to people behind the scenes, the performers, the volunteers. All of us are volunteers who make the plays that we have here. Give you some information about the Old Town Playhouse itself. Give you some stage lore. Give you some information on what we do and why you should come and join us, or why you should come and see the productions that we put up, which are 5 main stage and 4 studio productions. We'll get into that. We'll get into interviews with the directors, the actors themselves, just finding out all the different types of things that the Playhouse presents. We'll also kind of talk about arts in general here in Traverse City. There's a lot of performance art going on, both professional and volunteer and at the high school level. We'll try and investigate some of those pieces and see what we can find about that. I'm Don Kuehlhorn. I've been with the Playhouse 25 years. I've volunteered that long, 5 years. Before that, I was in Chicago doing community theater. I have done everything from acting to directing to set design, set construction. Speaking of which, we are on the set of Man of La Mancha. This is the main stage. The stage is 24 feet, I think, by 20 feet. It's a proscenium stage with a thrust on it. Those are the kinds of things we'll talk about. We'll look at how do we light a show like this, or any show, what goes into putting costumes up. One of the stage lore things that we'll learn today, what's this? It's a ghost light. It's just a $5 lamp that we bought at Goodwill, and we put it on our stage, and it stays lit whenever there is no one in the house, working in the house. If you Googled ghost light, you would find a lot of definitions for it. Probably the most practical definition is that at the end of the stage, before it meets the audience, there's a 3-foot drop. And then when this place goes black, and you walk on here in a dark stage, you could end up falling off that. Pretty painful. Also, if we put furniture on here right now, this is a bare stage, pretty much. Furniture's on the side, so you're going to walk into the center. But if you had furniture there and you bump into that furniture and you didn't know it was there, it could be painful as well. So that's the practical side. There's a superstition, of course, and there's the theater is rife with superstition that this keeps a light on so that the ghosts in the theater can see their way around. There's also, it's not quite a superstition, but it's an old saying that you never leave a stage dark. And so this burns anytime we're not in the theater. And then, of course, we take it off stage when we perform. And that's just a little bit of what we're going to learn in this particular show. We will talk with Phil Murphy, and we will talk with Michelle Hopkins, both performers on our stage, directors on our stage, and also the executive director and educational director for the Old Town Playhouse. We'll also take a brief walking tour, and then we'll talk about some of the upcoming events at the Playhouse. So, with that, welcome to StageDoor. This is Phil Murphy, who is the executive director of the Old Town Playhouse. Has been a member of the Playhouse for, well, years and years and years, and even longer than I've been here. And Phil, tell me about yourself a little bit.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it is.
I'm like Methuselah all of a sudden. Well, let's see. Geez, a little bit about me, I guess. been involved in theater since I was just a wee tyke back in the early 60s, and always wanted to make it a part of my life, and spent a good deal of time over the years working in community theater before moving into the professional theater, and then came back, having taught and worked professionally, had an opportunity, and found my way back to the Old Town Playhouse.
And you played here early on, and you played here at the Playhouse for some years before you got out and did whatever you did in your quote-unquote professional life.
Yeah.
So you got back here, and if this isn't a profession, I don't know what is.
Yeah,
but
well,
there you have it.
it's in the professional theater world. Not that this is not professional.
Right.
Certainly it is. As a career goes, it is. Yes, I got involved with the Old Town Playhouse back in 1976 when I first moved to Traverse City. Long story why I got here, but I was here and wasn't thrilled to be in Traverse City. I wanted to be in Chicago or New York plying my craft. But for reasons, I was here for a while and discovered the Playhouse and had a great time. And actually, it helped me through that first winter that I thought I was going to die up here. I was a city kid, so here I was, ostensibly in the country. But if you come from a big city, this is the country. So I came in the late '70s and got involved. My first production here was Fiddler on the Roof in 1977, I believe it was. And I was here for about 4 or 5 years, and then left the area.
Tell me about the theater and the vision that we all have, because of course, as executive director, your job is to promote the theater and get it moving forward, but it is a community effort after all.
Absolutely.
What is our vision?
Well, that's a good question. Now the question is, can I answer that?
Over there it is.
Well, the Playhouse was, I'll give you a little history first. The Playhouse was founded in 1960 by Elnora Milliken and some friends of hers at the time, and they wanted to create a place to play, basically, and to explore the world of theater. And that's when it began, and continued. It began performing at what is Central High School now, in their new auditorium at the time. And then they moved to the Park Place Dome. And it was in the mid-'70s that they started to look for a more permanent home, and that's when they found themselves here. Over the years, I would say that the theater vision, the goals of the theater, is to be a broad-based community theater that anyone can participate in. We sort of say, as our tagline these days, that there's a role for everyone here, and indeed there is, in all different capacities, primarily focused around production. But as a community theater, we have an opportunity to, I guess, bring to the people of the region a place for creative expression. Many people who do this feel, have had experience in the theater growing up and continue to want to do it. There are always new people coming in that find themselves here. It's a wonderful place for, I hate to say the disenfranchised, because it's really not true, but for anyone who's looking for an opportunity to express themselves. And they're almost invariably, everybody is welcome as long as you're willing to, knuckle in and put in the effort and help to make a show. It's a fascinating process, as you well know, having been involved for many years. You take a group of disparate people, ostensibly many who don't know each other, They come together, and over the course of the next 10 to 12 weeks, they produce a full-blown show, and not a small matter in any way, shape, or form. Our sets, everything from our sets to our costumes to what's going on backstage with properties and stage crews, lighting, sound, on-stage dancing, music, orchestras. It can be a huge number of people that come together, and over that next 10 weeks manage to come together and work as a team and bring a show to the stage that we can feel confident in producing for the public and invite them in to join us. And it's an opportunity to see your friends, family, and other community members expressing themselves creatively.
And what a thrill.
It is.
Or not.
Or not. No, for most, I would say, I think for anyone that gets involved, we often say that, they get bit by the bug. It only takes one show.
That's for sure.
All it takes. I've told this story a number of times now, but when a few years ago, I was working on a show for the Children's Theater. There was a young girl that came and auditioned, and I cast. Very quiet, always stayed in the background. I would have to pull her out every so often to get her, come out here, you're okay. And she would do everything I asked, but very, very quiet. And as the show was coming to its end, I was talking with her mother, and her mother said, she's had a really wonderful time being here through all of this, but, I don't know that she'll be back. Well, she's came back year in and year out for the next 6 years. And to watch her blossom and grow in terms of esteem and her ability to stand in front of a group of people and present herself was really rather incredible. And that happens to everybody here in one way or another. And people tend to keep coming back and beat themselves up again and again. We're going to do it, work hard. It is a passion. And the folks that are involved find it, I think, very rewarding. I think it's evident to people when you're on stage what the reward is. I think even the people backstage, they get to look and say, I made that. There's something to be said for that, and there's pride in it, and pride of place and pride of accomplishment.
Thanks, Phil.
Thank you, Don.
Now, let's take a short tour of the Old Town Playhouse. Our tour starts right outside the business office where we interviewed Phil Murphy, and it'll go to the studio space, which is now pretty much a young company space and where Good on Paper performs every other Saturday. We have our studio shows over at the depot, which we'll review later. That was a conference room. Here's our box office, open pretty much 4 to 6 o'clock every day, and then also on the weekends, or not weekends, but 2 hours before showtime when we have a main stage show. This is also, you can also buy tickets online 24 hours a day, choose your seats and things. Here is the stairway up to the main entrance. This is our main entrance into the main auditorium space. When you come see a show, you'll see the house manager up here. And then this is our main auditorium. Seats around 350 plus people when we have full houses, and hopefully we always have full houses. We've heard we haven't. Back here in the corner is our sound booth. Normally this one main door is open. We'll take a tour of that sound booth later, in a later show. Then we go into the backstage area where you can exit the theater here. There's a handicapped elevator. And then down the hallway to the rear of the stage area and auditorium, but we'll take a right turn at the first door into our wood room, our set construction area. In this place, we manufacture everything you see on the stage. Well, not everything, but most of the set pieces we'll construct back here. Big green double doors at the end there, matched by another set of double doors, which allow us to bring 10-foot set pieces out onto our stage. Our paint area. Then we'll move into the green room here. This is where the performers of all our shows rest between scenes, wait for the first curtain, do whatever they need to do while we're waiting to go on stage. We'll go out and look down the hallway where we came in, and now we go up to the main stage area. Taking again our right turn, we go into a common room where we again build sets during rehearsal space. This now is the properties area for the Man of La Mancha, our current production here in November. We go on to main stage. We'll see the backstage portions of Man of La Mancha set. This is the stage manager or floor manager spot. It depends on where the stage manager wants to run the show. And we'll get into that too. But they have a video where they can see the action on the stage, just to make sure that, because in this case it's a blind set, you can't see on stage from backstage. Then we make an entrance through stage left and on to main stage, and this is the bird's eye view of what performers might see. Fortunately, all the lights are off in the auditorium when we play, so it's very difficult to see the seats and make out individual faces, which is what we don't want to do. And then in the corner here is the orchestra pit. We take out several seats and we put in an orchestra pit for musicals, which is Man of La Mancha, and then we'll take that out, put the seats back in when we do our straight plays and comedies and dramas. Going out stage right, we'll go up the stairs. Now the light is out, but there is a light back here. It's a blue light, a stage light, so you won't see it. But it is going up to the second floor and into our costume construction area. This is the place where our costumers develop all the costumes. A lot of these are costumes for other shows, just stored here, but they are in production for Honk. They are in production for the upcoming Legally Blonde. Now we go out in the hallway and we go over to the men's dressing room. These are essentially identical dressing rooms. It's just been through usage that we've chosen that these are for the men, this particular area, and then we go to the other side and these are for women. And there's nothing special about either one of them other than you just end up being in one and everybody goes to the other. So that's how we discern men and women dressing rooms. When we go out the door here, this is also where we have a laundry facility, washer and dryer. Then we go out the door and down the hallway again. This time we're going to the back of the house. And here is our wardrobe or costume storage area. We have all a bunch of dresses, suits, sport coats, uniforms, and all of these things the costumers change and sew and make different for every show. That was the properties room we saw. The door was locked, so we can't get in, so we move on to the back of the house. Now, we could go down to the wood room again, but we will choose to go into the auditorium, up the stairs, and this is our light booth. We also have the stage manager who may choose to operate from up here because they see a bird's eye view of the set here. No need for electronic devices. Our balcony may hold 50 plus people, and then the downstairs, the main stage, is about 300. Now this is a special device that we're using for Man of La Mancha, our current production. It's a winch, a hand-driven winch, which lifts up the stairs. It's airplane cable to a support mounted on the proscenium, which pulls these stairs up and down. It's a wonderful piece. This is the end of our tour for now. We'll come back later.
No, not executive. What is your title? Just throw me out a title.
I'm the education director.
I knew it was an E. It started with
Yes,
an
it is
E,
an E.
so I was close.
Yep. I'm the education director, which means I run the Young Company and all of the programs that the children are involved in, classes, productions, camps, all kinds of workshops and programming that we do year-round. Plus, I am in charge of the education for the adults that volunteer here as well. So, for example, recently we brought in a sort of a nationally recognized community theater director who has just written a book on directing for community theater, and he came in and did a three-day workshop with our volunteers, and we do all kinds of workshops and offer educational opportunities for our adult volunteers as well.
Okay. Now, you've had some experience with the Old Town Playhouse. Prior to your current 2 or 3 years here, you've been away for a while and came back. What was that before?
Well, just out of high school, I auditioned for a play here at the Old Town Playhouse and was cast in My Fair Lady, and worked with Phil Murphy in that show, and then left the area, and we stayed friends for many years, and then after about a 30-year hiatus, I did lots of things. I got my undergraduate degree in theater from Western Michigan University, and then I got my master's degree in Shakespeare from the Shakespeare Institute in Stratford-upon-Avon, England, and was working at the Kalamazoo Civic Theater, which is the third largest community theater in America. So it's big budgets, big staff, big operation, and I was the associate director there. And Phil said, hey, we have this job coming open, and is it something you would be interested in applying for? And my husband and I had just had our second child, and Molly was only a couple of months old when I applied for and was given the position here, and so we moved up from Kalamazoo, and for me it was moving back to the area I had grown up in, and great place to raise our kids.
I heard that. Now to shift gears once more.
Sure.
Back to the Young Company. We have some productions coming. Want to make sure we get those productions in.
Yes, we want people to know about those. The first one, the most immediate chronologically, is the production of Wiley and the Hairy Man, which is in our junior studio series. So it's taking place in the small black box theater right outside the door here at the OTP. And it is a program for 12 to 18-year-old students. And we focus on a different genre of theater, a different style of theater, a different time period. And this particular show is written by Susan Zader, who is the most published playwright for children's theater in the United States right now. And she has taken a very old folk tale from Mississippi, Alabama, from the swamps around the Tombigbee River, and dramatized it. So it features a Greek chorus, a Greek-style chorus of actors who become trees and mud and swamp and create these percussive sounds that operate throughout the whole show. And then it's about a small boy who's afraid of the hairy man who lives in the swamp, and he has to overcome his fear, and he has to be resourceful and smart, and in the end he defeats or outsmarts the hairy man and is rid of him finally. So
when does that go?
that goes up on the 19th and 20th of November, Monday and Tuesday evening here in the junior studio at 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Yep.
Get here by 6:30 to buy
Be here by
tickets.
6:30 to get your ticket, and the show lasts about an hour, and it's suitable for sort of pre-K all the way up.
Okay.
Families will love it. And then our big December musical on the main stage is the 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th of December. So that week right before the Christmas holidays, we'll be doing Honk Jr., which is a musical based on the Hans Christian Andersen story of the Ugly Duckling. It's very popular. The music is very contemporary and fun, and the kids really respond to it. And it's got a great message that there's beauty in everything and everyone. And it's got a cast of about 40 kids. So, yeah, you probably know somebody in the show. If you know anybody in Traverse City, you probably know somebody in the show.
There.
Yeah.
Just right at the end, the young company, what do you need to do? What do you need to be part of the young company?
You really don't have to do anything except walk through our door to be part of the young company. We have classes that we offer for students 5 years old on up. You have to be 9 to audition for a play, and there's all kinds of activities that you can sign up for to participate in, to learn, to become involved here at the Old Town Playhouse. We have about 200, I would say, 200 students, 250 that come through the door on an annual basis. And then, of course, if you're interested in becoming involved and you're over 18, there are lots of things you can do. We have a brand new program for adults called the Senior Readers Theater. It's called Aged to Perfection, and it is for 55-year-olds on up. And they do Readers Theater several times a year with just a couple of rehearsals, and they have their scripts in hand, and it's directed by and performed by the seniors in our volunteer group, and that's very popular. And we also have a late night comedy troupe. They are called Good on Paper, and they do improv here at the OTP every other Saturday night at 11 o'clock. It's a comedy improv show, very funny, and it includes free coffee and donuts for $5.
Well, there it is.
So
The
it's a
freebie
pretty
is
good
a freebie.
deal. Yes, it is. So there's something for everybody.
Okay.
Well, Michelle, we'll be back to you. We'll
Okay.
next month we'll come back, see what's happening, and
Alrighty.
we'll talk to you. Thanks much.
Okay, you're welcome.
As I tell my kids during our phone conversations, I've run out of words. So this is the end of the November issue of StageDoor. Remember, the Man of La Mancha runs the entire weekends of November, this 2012.
Give me some information about your show.
So The Good Doctor is opening at the end of November, on November the 30th. This is Brittany. She's not in the cast. And it'll be running until the 15th of December at the Studio Theater by the library. It's a very fun show. It's a collection of short stories written by Neil Simon, but in the style of Chekhov. He's taken some of Chekhov's lovely, warm, wonderful, some of them funny, some of them touching short stories, and adapted them into a whole series of vignettes. So, great cast of 5 people, all playing a lot of different roles. We have a narrator who serves as the writer, who's going to thread the audience's way through all the stories, and it should be a lot of fun.
Okay, when is it again? Just so we know.
November 30th through December 15th.
When's curtain?
7:30 on Friday, Saturday, and Thursday nights, and 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoons.
Okay.
What
Thank
else would
you.
you like to know, Don?
Break a leg.
Break a leg! Yay!
Also, as a young company, as you heard from Michelle Hopkins, Wiley and the Hairy Man goes up mid-November and in our studio space. And also in December, mid-December, 16-17, Honk Jr., the musical. Very interesting. That'll go up on Main Stage. I'm Don Kuehlhorn. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, something you'd like to see, give me a shout at stagedoortc@gmail.com. Thanks. See you next month.